Hi, welcome to Fontis Insider. I'm Bassett, your host. Super excited to be here with you today. And I am really excited about this guest we have. If you're looking for some great value in planning your workforce, or if maybe you haven't even thought about planning for your workforce, then this is the show for you today.
Today on Fontis Insider, we will be with Celia Garcia. Celia is a mother, grandmother, community leader, and an award-winning educator, impacting thousands of lives in her over 30-year career. She is a founder and CEO of the Latin Business Institute and the Job Skills Institute. Her passion is developing and implementing effective training and coaching to impact business performance. Celia, welcome to Fontis Insider.
All right. Welcome, Celia. I'm seriously, this is going to be such a powerful talk we have today, because getting to know you and your vast experience, it is going to be something that is going to be watched for years to come. So
I'm really glad to be able to be here and to share with a lot of business owners, because as you know, entrepreneurship is my passion, and I've been an entrepreneur and a single mom for many years, and being in business was what gave me the freedom to design my own life the way I wanted to. I really have been able to do that, and teaching other people to do that as well is really not about enslaving yourself to your business, but really operating efficiently. And I'm going to talk to you today about how not to run into trouble as you're trying to grow your business.
Oh my goodness. So, this is mostly around small to medium-sized business that we're going to talk to today. Yeah. And I would imagine that there's going to be some concepts in here that even if you are a large business, that you can take and tweak for your larger business. Because I remember even being in corporate America, I did that for, 5 to 6 years, did a lot of traveling, that our training came way after the fact, right? That personal development of developing your employees. So someone comes to you, Celia, what's that process that they start to go through? What do you take them through?
Well, first of all, Kim, I want to lay the background for it and let you know that for about 35 years, I've been in the workplace working with employers directly to upskill their workforce. So that gave me an opportunity over many years to be on site at employer workplaces and setting up education and training for their workforce. But it also gave me the knowledge of what big business does. And I will tell you, we're talking about small and medium-sized businesses, but what big business does is it invests a lot of money in an HR department and HR practices. They do a lot of things because they know the risk, and the risk is high of running into problem with a whole host of state and federal agencies that are there to enforce employment laws. And so today I want to talk to small business owners that may not feel that they are at that place where they, want to hire more employees. You may even have some startups that know they have opportunities, but they don't have the staff, the team in place to really go after those opportunities. And that's a heartbreak for me, because you're ready to go, you want to make the money, but any business knows that the only way they're going to grow and stay in business is if they have the right workforce. And right now, that's the big talk right now about how to get the workforce back to work. And I just want to clue in the employers into some things you might want to consider right now. Like, I kind of buy into the fact that employees are also reconsidering the work that they do. So basically all over the workforce, there's a big shift. There's been a big disruption, and people are going to move across the labor market, right? And what you want to do as an employer is you want to know how to capture the best people. In other words, I'm telling you, if people weren't happy where they were before, they're looking for something better. Do you, as an employer, offer something better? And by that, it's going to reflect in the way that you're operating your business. So a lot of small businesses and medium-sized businesses don't feel they're ready to have that whole department, because, you're talking about hiring, someone that makes $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, to manage an HR department. Yeah. So sometimes some of the risk is that to save money in the beginning, you assign it to other people, and other people aren't trained either, and they don't know how to mitigate the liability for your small business, and they don't know, because they haven't set up these departments, how to do it. So what I come in as is as a consultant to them and as a teacher, and I basically try to simplify something that is accessible to all employers, information, but it's so legalese, it's so complicated that you really don't know what they're asking of you. And you want to be an employer that even if somebody comes knocking at your door and they want to see your employment records, and they want to, maybe they're answering a complaint or some kind of inquiry and they want to see your payroll records, they have a right to do that. Like, they have a right to just come in and say, if your place isn't safe, we're going to shut you down until we investigate this injury or accident that happened. So you can be safe for a while until something happens and someone complains about it. And what I'm trying to do is help employers set those practices up, have those protocols so that they're safe, but mostly because I believe, having done training and development for the workforce for so many years, that employees want to do good work. They want to be loyal. They want to be promotable. They want to learn new skills. And so what I do in my consulting is help the employer be a better employer so they can attract the right people, and the right people stay and help them grow their business.
Wow, that is powerful. And I think very few think about that. We had a business at one point in California, and those are all the things. I know that's where you reside.
Yeah.
That's probably a lot of the lead in California that a lot of other states follow, because you have to be overly careful, overly cautious, having those policies and procedures in place, having all that documentation. We went through that. I totally understand the value of that. But I don't think a lot of people in business do. And they go into business because it's something that they're passionate about or they love, and they start, and they don't have that foundation, right?
Right.
And so having someone like you come in, I think, is essential, right?
Well, and we could set up the types of things that they can run their business by. In other words, one of the areas that I hear a lot of is the difficulty in hiring good people, right? The turnaround is too high of people that you invest so much time in developing and training, and then, they don't stay with the company or it doesn't work out. So really understanding how to attract the right people. And by that, I don't mean putting an ad on Indeed and getting 100 to 500 applications that, they say only 11% of what people put on their resumes is actually accurate. So you're still got a long ways to go when you have all of this data now from 100 people or 500 people to really screen. Do you know how to do that? Do you know how to narrow it down to the right people, make the right offer? And you not always go on the cheap, but really look at what that person's value is to the business. If you got somebody solid with good skills, that can make or break you in the future when you try to grow and expand. So really just trying to understand what's the best for my type of business. What decisions should I be making right now so that I know a year or 2 or 5 years from now, my business is solid? And it has to do with key players that you're going to bring in to your business. So that hiring piece, and then, on the enforcement side, on that piece alone, which there's so many parts of the puzzle, if you don't keep applications for everybody that applied, are you keeping those? The documentation requirements of what you're supposed to keep and have on hand, just like taxes for 3 years, whatever it is that you need to keep them, you have employment record, types of regulations that you have to follow. So what I'm saying for small businesses is that you may not feel you're ready to have to deal with this, but the moment you hire that one employee, you're legally bound to manage a whole slew of HR laws. And what I do for the people that are working with me is I just really give them a quick training and provide them with the tools and the resources, the templates, so they don't have to figure it out from the beginning. Saves them a lot of time and saves them a lot of money, but really an understanding, and their whole staff having the same understanding. So we're all rowing in the same direction, and that is to lift up that business with a powerful team that produces and that's going to stay. Because you don't also want to be trying to spend a lot of time getting rid of or managing non-performing employees and going through the liability and the scare that they're going to come back and be vengeful about it. You just want to manage a good ship where everybody's happy to be there and they're performing at their utmost. I can help you to figure that out quickly.
Wow. I think that in itself is a huge value. The other thing too is, the cost. People don't think about the cost in time, right? Because our time is valuable.
Yes.
In onboarding someone, right?
Yes.
You invest money and time and resources to onboard someone.
Yes.
So how do you step someone through, somebody, needs to grow fast or they need something. So often it's a knee-jerk reaction, right? What would you recommend to someone who's like, I just got to get a body in here?
Right. Well, that's always the case if you aren't building your business the right way, right? You shouldn't have to be always putting out fires, right? But that's why workforce planning is very important. And the areas that you can plan, for instance, before you start recruiting and hiring, before you bring somebody on board, is really sit down with, a career coach or an HR specialist like myself that can help you describe what they're going to be doing. A lot of employers don't have even job descriptions. They just make a whole kind of to-do wish list that isn't realistic. So trying to manage the work and organize the work, or right now, re-engineer the work after COVID. Take those steps first, and it doesn't take that long, but it gives a clear vision of who we're looking for, why we're looking for them, immediately how we're going to onboard them, and what are the main job duties we're going to want them to focus on. And then, taking a look at the whole team and see how you're going to integrate it. So you hear about big companies having a mission and a vision, and they also want to find the right fit. There's a lot of conversation about the right fit. Is this person a right fit for my business? That's really important. Do you even know what that is for yourself? And you got to determine these things before, then everything will run a lot smoother. When you bring them on, you should have policies, like your employee handbook tells your employees how you want to run this ship, right? How this business runs, what they can expect, what you expect of them. What's going to happen if they don't perform the way you expect? What's going to happen if they do, which would be always, something more, opportunities, upskilling opportunities, educational reimbursement. So talking with an employer, what I do is try to figure out what would be the right incentives for your business and for your employees that would get people to want to work for you long term. Because a small employer is competing against a big employer that has a whole package available for new people. But you could win out a big employer if you're strategic, if you're smart, because they haven't figured it out sometimes and they got a lot of turnover. So right now, while people are looking for new and better employment, if you have your act together, they're going to come with you and they're going to help you build your business.
Wow. One of the things that, as I've been talking to people, here in Las Vegas, they talk about, you've been talking about the employees and their turnaround, right? I think more of the younger generation are looking, they kind of hop around a little bit, but I think they really want to see some place that has that growth potential, right? What is the next steps? Where can I go from here? What if I get into this small business and it's not exactly what I thought it would be, but how does that employer's already invested in that person, right? To onboard them. How do you find that next step for them?
Well, you do have to have a plan of how you're going to develop your employees. And that's easy enough to do. We have a lot of contracts that I work with our job centers that provide actual money, income. They offset the cost of hiring a new employee, because you're going to be providing on-the-job training. So that could be a resource. If you know about resources that you could tap into, then what we do, I used to do that, go out to an employer and I write up a on-the-job training plan. And then we reimburse you 50% of that person's income of their wage for say 6 weeks or 8 weeks, because you're going to be training them. So it helps you bring on people that you're going to have to train anyways, but you have to have that training ready to go. You have to know what you're going to do with people. It's kind of like when you bring in volunteers for a big event and you say, oh my God, we have 500 volunteers that are going to show up. But when they show up, you have to know exactly how to activate them, right? In the right way, to get the most out of them. So the workplace is the same way. It's not just about adding a body or a couple more hands. You have to be very thoughtful, because you're paying a lot of money to bring on staff. And also because, it's so funny. One of the things that happens with small businesses is that, when I say that an employee is looking at a big business or looking at a small business, all they want to do is they want to get paid on time. They want to get paid correctly, right? That's one thing right away. If you haven't had a job, well, they might be looking at the small business saying, can this small business even pay me? Can I stand on this? Can I depend on this? And when you don't have payroll services, or you're paying them with personal checks, which are some of the things that I've seen, you're really not putting up your credibility as an employer and as a strong business that can, sustain a workforce. So there's just little tweaks that you want to do and you want to put in place so that you're standing strong and employees see you standing strong. Otherwise, they'll take the first job that you offer them, but they'll be always looking for something better. You want to be the one. You want to be the something better they came to and where they want to stay.
Wow. No, this is, I knew this was going to be a powerful talk today, our discussion, and you are over delivering, Celia. This is so fabulous. Now there's some things, some little things you've sent to me, right? And then that we can pull up. Do you want to talk about any of those right now?
Sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So one of them is the harassment prevention. So
this is an area that's very important, and I do this type of training. And this is a requirement. I don't know if you know, as an employer, for years, they had to do sexual harassment training, but not all hands on board, not everybody, just your supervisors and your managers, because they're the ones that bring liability to you. Be very careful who you hire and who you position as a supervisor, because anything they do automatically represents your company. So you eat it. That's it. What they do, how they act, if they're mature, if they're managing their employees correctly, all that is really on you if you get into a court system or a problem. So we do this training now. As of last January, it became a requirement, and I believe in this, that all employees should have this training. So we do a 1-hour training for employees and a 2-hour training for supervisors, because supervisors need to know how to handle the complaints. As soon as somebody tells you, you cannot put it under the rug. You are required by law within 24 hours to actually immediately to report it to HR and to your managers. And that's where companies run into problems, because they don't know they have that requirement. They just say, well, we'll see if this gets better. Well, and once a person understands that they can go to the EEOC or to an attorney and say, this is happening to me in the workplace, too late. You're in trouble. You're going to have to pay some money to get out of this, and your reputation is going to be, scoured a bit.
Wow.
So the training is to let everybody know about policies that absolutely are supposed to be legally in your employee handbook. But most companies that I go to, small, mostly large companies, I'm not kidding you, I ask them for the employee handbook every time I train, because whatever series, I'm going to cover these subjects, and I want to train to the policy. Train, not a personal. I'm not telling you you're not behaving or you're not doing the work right. I am, or you're not being safe, whatever I'm saying. I want to turn to the policy that we all follow. But if you don't have an employee handbook, or you are making excuses that you're updating it for years and years at a time, and it's never really ready, you got a lot of problems if you get into court, because you didn't mitigate this. It's not fair for employees to be fired for expectations they never knew about. And companies sometimes can be very weak in their onboarding process, and in how they manage issues in the workplace, right? So I'm trying to
Yeah.
help you understand how to get ahead of all of that, how to get up front and be very professional, have your things in order. Employees know exactly what to expect and how they have to perform, or the consequences, and that makes it very easy for you to build the right team.
Wow. No, this is
I
really good
believe in
stuff.
both sides,
Yeah.
both
Yeah.
sides to get it right and be married to the right person at work.
Right.
That's
It
what
is.
much
It's
time.
being married, right? Because
It
you
is.
probably spend more time with your employees and your employer than you do your spouse.
A lot. Yeah. And you don't want your employer, seeming like they're robbing you because they didn't pay you overtime. How are we tracking these things? There's so many mechanisms that you can put into place real quickly. And so that's why I make offers and I write books to let people know how they can get a hold of me and how I can help them, and also where they can go to get the information. If they want to figure it out themselves, I will lead you to that. But the bottom line is become aware before someone knocks at your door.
Okay, so we're going to go to this one because I think, we've been talking about a lot of, both sides of it, but I think this is a really important routine jobs and the jobs of the future, because people are trying to understand what are the jobs of the future, right?
Yes. Well, the jobs of the future are going to require people to have what we've been talking about for years, which is soft skills. And those are the skills that a robot or a computer can't easily replicate, like, how we think, our strategic thoughts, our creativity, the ability to be adaptable. Like right now, we have to be adaptable.
Oh,
Our
yeah.
workplace may not even be what it was before. And an employer has every right to say, this job doesn't exist anymore. Now I have this job. Do you want it? Or you don't want it, so you have to be able to communicate. Communication is the top skill, right? Different ways of communicating. Of course, you and I know we're communicating right now on
Yes.
video, right? Social media, the writing. Just you have to be more intelligent. It's not the hard skills, which are the technical skills, but employers are looking for those soft skills, and that's what makes like team building, being able to work as a team, being able to create a team, know how to create a team. What are you looking for? How do you operate to get those efficiencies, those ROIs for a business? That basically what we're talking about is how to increase the bottom line for your business, and having an understanding that you work for that business in order to increase that business's bottom line. They didn't hire you for anything else, but we as an employer have to be more clear about how we want that work done in order to get to those goals. That's our planning process up at the top of the pyramid.
Wow. So can you kind of share a story where you've taken a business that just basically had nothing or very little, and what some of the wins that they received as a result of working with you?
Yes, I was working with a business recently, and that business was in real estate. This was a couple of years ago, and now I've made very good friends with the owner. And what they do is they did flipping houses. They used to hold about 30 properties at a time and flip those houses. And it was a very stressful business. And every time they tried to bring in staff, the staff didn't last, and that was very frustrating for the owners of the business. They had to take time, and they couldn't figure out why these people, even offering them a very well-paying commission, plus all the training that they're going to need, why they didn't have sometimes the character or the work ethic to really help that business with their bottom line. And they were getting nowhere with it. And so as a result, they were missing out on opportunities. Once we figured out, I worked with the owner, and we had some coaching sessions for, several months, really understanding what they're looking for and how they want to operate their business, streamlining the way that they're identifying the skills. It doesn't matter what people put on their resume. You want to know what skills do they have. And in the interview process, you want to be able to confirm that they have those skills. You don't want to have that kind of confirmation find out once they're already on board and you've already invested another 4 weeks of training and development that could have gone to somebody that was more deserving or more of a fit for our company. So all of that we went through and put into place, and they were able to hire 5 more people into those spots,
Wow.
get them trained. They passed the training. They brought in more business. And so then they were able to take advantage of investor money that was already hanging around, but wasn't sure about their capability. So they increased their capability, their capacity, and then they got extra money coming in, investment to be able to grow. So that's, it's like I tell a lot of businesses, like you're a woman-owned business, I'm a woman-owned business, and I know a lot of women-owned business owners, right? And some of them are in construction and electricity, and all kinds of construction trades, right? This one in real estate with, fixer-uppers, still managing crews, and we're women in non-traditional trades, right? But you want to be able to go after those government contracts or those big subcontracting contracts, and you can't do it if you can't prove that you have the right team in place. I can't submit for a proposal in my business, the work that I do, unless I show that I have a team and that I'm not just one person standing up, but I have the backing to be able to fulfill on that contract that I'm trying to win. So these are all strategies that help you position yourself for bigger business, and they're the foundation you have to have.
Wow, this is powerful. Is that what this little subcontractor one here?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So those are, for that, I use that in my training because I'm teaching people that how you do the work you do, like you had their landscaping and roofers and different kinds of occupations, how you do that work determines how you classify employees, which is very important, because if you misclassify your employees into subcontractors, but you're really managing them and they really are employees, you're liable for the taxes for all the years they worked. I mean, it's just incredible the kind of penalties that you can have. So you want to make sure that you're not trying to skim and, kind of do this little streamline thing, making everybody a subcontractor so you don't have liability, because if it doesn't get you here, as an employer who should be offering certain things and protections to employees, which you should have had to, but you miscalculated or you misclassified, you're going to pay. You're going to
pay. Oh my goodness, you have provided such huge value. I hope everyone can see the huge value. Now, you also have some gifts for everyone here today. So we have this. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to read this.
And I was just reading it on the way here today, because I decided that I'm also going to do an audio of this book. And I was just recording the first chapter of the audio. So anybody that downloads this book, I'm going to have your email and I'll be able to follow up with you with an audio if that's easier for you to read. That is a less than 60-minute read, but can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I want to make it available. And also, when you download that book, it's going to take you to another page where I've already added a bunch of videos where you could see me teach and see me talk to you about a lot of different subjects and why I think it's so important that we work together and that you get the benefit of putting these things into place like quickly. And right there, you'll have an opportunity to work with me and to connect to my coursework and, all the answers that you really need.
Wow. And all of your, 30 plus years of experience, I know there's going to be some huge benefit of doing that. Please go, you'll see in front of her is myjobskillsinstitute@gmail.com. Reach out to Celia for that as well. But Celia, thank you so much for coming on. Is there anything else you would like to add to this before we...
Just that the link that is going by really nicely on the bottom, that is the link where you can go and get the free book download, and they'll take you to information that can help you. Okay. It's been a pleasure, Kim. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. Everyone, what a value. The thing that's really important to me in doing this show is that we really want to bring on those people who are experts in their field. And as you can see, with 30 plus years, that Celia is an expert, and she can really help you, like she said, save hundreds of thousands of dollars. Everyone have a great day. Reach out to her if you have any other further questions. I would like to know what your takeaways are. So if you had a huge aha moment or takeaway, will you please put it in the comments so that we can make sure that we get back to you on that.